Well, sometimes big upsets happen in the college ranks, not just in the National Hockey League. Where exactly are we referring our attention to? Well, we are talking about yesterday's Cornell University and Michigan State University game. Because it's the playoffs right now, they've got the tournaments going on, and the games are super important. Now, if you lose, you're pretty much done. Seasons are ending and players are getting freed up. But when it comes to this particular game, in the Ivy League, we saw ourselves a very interesting set of numbers heading into the third period. Because Michigan State University, they were up 3-2 at the end of the second. But the third period came, and Cornell University ended up scoring 2. They won the game with 10 seconds to go in regulation. Look at that final goal. 10 seconds left, Sullivan Mack gets the winner on the power play, and that's all she wrote for the Michigan State University Hockey Club. Now, where does this fall in the realm of the Detroit Red Wings? Because the goaltender for Michigan State University was none other than Trey Augustine, who did suit up in this game and who did let in the goal in the last 10 seconds. He finished this game off with an .810 save percentage. It is the worst save percentage game that Trey Augustine has had since, 810 save percentage. Has he had a game worse than that this year? No, he hasn't. I'm looking at the entire game log for Trey Augustine in 2024-2025. The guy legitimately has not had a single game under an .810 save percentage. But he had an .810 save percentage in this game against Cornell. They ended up losing, they ended up getting eliminated, and now we are turning to Detroit to potentially make a move and bring Augustine onto their squad. This is an article I'm going to leave a link in the description to by Kevin Allen from Detroit Hockey Now this morning. Tournament upset clears the way for the Red Wings to sign Trey Augustine. The South Lyon native must decide whether or not he wants to leave Michigan State University. Just to really put a bow as to how crazy the loss is, though, number 1 ranked Michigan State's unexpected loss to number 16 Cornell in the NCAA hockey tournament has started the countdown to the Wings signing goalie Trey Augustine. After trailing for most of the game, Cornell pulled off a 4-3 upset against MSU. Sullivan Mack scored against Augustine with 10 seconds left in regulation, and Augustine posted up 17 saves for the game. Sources say the Wings would like to sign Augustine and perhaps get him some minor league games before the end of the season. Augustine doesn't have anything left to prove as a Detroit prospect. Last month, TSN's Craig Button selected him as the 20th affiliated prospect in his annual rankings. Augustine, 20, is only a sophomore, and it's up to him whether he wants to turn pro now or later. No one could have anticipated that the Spartans would have been eliminated this early. MSU had been ranked the number 1 team in the country. So, yeah, that's great. Take a look at that, eh? The guy's playing for the best ranked team in the world. Or in the country, I guess. Yeah, NCAA is only America. But you get what I mean. And they lose to the 16th seeded Cornell in a beautiful comeback last-second victory. That's unfortunate for Trey Augustine, but ultimately, there is a chance now for the Wings to sign him. It's all just going to depend on whether or not he himself wants to do so. And look, these kinds of things happen quickly. We saw Jimmy Snuggerud get signed by the St. Louis Blues earlier this afternoon, and I get it, different teams, different situations, but really, it's up to the guy. If he wants to go pro right away, there is a chance to do so, and I think this plays very well into the Detroit Red Wings prospect pool and what they've got cooking down there in Grand Rapids, because obviously if Trey Augustine signs with Detroit today or tomorrow, he's not signing and playing with Detroit. He's not going to get an NHL game towards the end of the season. That's probably too much, considering Talbot, Lyon, Mrazek, and even Gosa up ahead of him on the depth chart. He's probably going to go to the AHL. He's probably going to get some reps in there. Who knows how good he's going to be. But then you think about the other additions. You've got two Swedes, or no, one is Norwegian, one is a Swede, both playing on a Swedish team. Two Europeans in the SHL Skellefteå AIK system who will be eligible to join the farm team as well upon their seasons concluding. Axel Sandin Pellikka and Michael Brandstad Nygård, their agents have spoken out and said, for both of them, that they will be heading over to North America after the end of their Swedish team season. So, if the Augustine, Brandstad Nygård, and Sandin Pellikka combo heads over to Grand Rapids around the same time before the playoffs, that sounds like a really good idea for building the core of this Red Wings prospect system and just giving these guys the best opportunities that they could have at this point of their careers. I mean, I saw a lot of people talking about the excitement for all three of these dudes to join the Red Wings farm team around the same time, in the most important games too. They've already been a pretty strong team this year, but just having more of that youthful exuberance certainly isn't a bad thing in my opinion. So for a lot of Wings fans who have been paying attention, hey, please keep your eyes peeled. We may be on the cusp of seeing Trey Augustine get signed and potentially do some damage as well with the Grand Rapids Griffins. Although it is, of course, unfortunate that his team got eliminated in the very first game of the tournament versus Cornell. That is so unfortunate. Imagine losing to Cornell. Okay, we're not going to talk about Cornell like that. We did just make a video yesterday, by the way, about one of the top Cornell prospects that has been highly coveted by the Bruins, the Lightning, the Jets, the Oilers, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. That was, what's his name, Dalton Bancroft? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So he was on that Cornell team that defeated Trey Augustine and MSU. So hey, there's a little bit of an extra tidbit that you can take a look at there. Cornell has actually been on quite the roll recently. They've won, 7 games in a row? None of these opponents are like particularly fantastic other than Michigan State, but they beat Clarkson, they beat Quinnipiac, they beat Colgate, Yale, and then RPI as well. So it's kind of a mixed bag of NCAA teams going out there and playing and stuff. So we'll see whether or not the Trey Augustine party comes over to Grand Rapids. But for now, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What are your opinions on the loss in general? I didn't really talk much about the goals that were scored against him because I do think just the fact that he allowed 4 goals and had the worst save percentage game of this season so far does speak enough for itself. I mean, the worst game that Trey Augustine had this year, aside the 8-10 save percentage game against Cornell where they lost, was at the World Juniors. It was the 10-4 win over Team Germany. Augustine had 4 goals against on 22 shots for an 818 save percentage. That was the worst game that he had all year, save percentage-wise, but it was a 10-4 win. The worst game up until the yesterday game versus Cornell University, where he let in 4 goals on 21 shots. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Trey Augustine and this little update. Do you think he signs with the Wings soon? Why or why not? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.